it turns out he was really good at the collecting part. And then not so great when it came to releasing the funds to the appropriate party. Which is just wild to me. I mean, what could possibly go wrong when you put perpetually drunk assholes in charge of tens of thousands of dollars?
Yeah, what could go wrong?
I'm just not sure where things went wrong. Hi, Cassie.
Hi, Caitlin.
Hi, creepy people.
Hello.
Hello. If you're new to our creepy corner of the world, this is P&W Haunts and Homicides, where we chat about true crime, paranormal, and all things creepy in the Pacific Northwest.
And then we do a tarot reading at the end of every episode for a little deeper insight into whatever we talked about for the day, whether it was true crime or spooky.
Yes.
So if you want to stick around and hear that, you are more than welcome to join us.
In fact, we insist.
We kind of do.
But like in a really nice way, not like in a, culty way.
Never.
All right. Well, we'll just see how this goes because this is, I think this is what I've heard now several shows the hosts refer to as After Dark.
Oh, yeah.
That's us tonight recording this. So good thing I didn't pick something super duper dark. I think.
Good. That's good. It's not dark after dark.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know. I just feel like that would be insult to injury. Like,
yeah.
It's been a long day, you guys. Okay.
It has been. I've been editing that video that you all have better have watched and enjoyed because it was hard but fun.
For your viewing pleasure.
Yeah.
Okay.
That was the Lone First Cemetery episode.
Yeah, that's a fun one.
And I added all of the pictures and stuff into the video.
Oh, she getting fancy.
I know. I mean,
real fancy.
Don't expect it every time. But
yeah, we'll just see.
Yeah, we'll see.
All right. Well.
Oh, I have a correction. Can I make a correction?
Yeah, of course.
So I realized while I was editing, I said the Multnomah County building was built, and it's a Multnomah County building called the Morrison Building.
Oh.
And for some reason, I think maybe I just deleted that part on accident.
You were like, listen, you don't need to know which building. Just know that Multnomah County is the boss of it.
Yeah. So it's called the Morrison Building, just so everyone knows.
Okay. I feel a lot better now.
Thank you. Yeah. I do, because it was like weighing heavy on me. I'm like, someone's going to tell me it's not called the Multnomah County building. Because that doesn't really make a whole lot of sense.
Also, please don't do that.
Yeah. I mean, if I make a mistake, you're more than welcome to tell me nicely.
Yeah. But definitely don't correct Cassie in that tone of voice.
Yeah.
Because I will not stand for it.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Anyway, that was it.
So welcome.
Sorry to take over your episode.
Oh, yeah. I just honestly don't know how I could ever forgive you.
You'll have to try because you're stuck with me.
She's like, too fucking bad. All right. So this episode, I'm kind of just going to jump into it.
Okay.
I feel like people say that and then it doesn't really seem like they're jumping into it, but
you're not jumping.
Yeah. Well, listen, that really wreaks havoc on the pop filter and the microphone. If, they're not compatible with jumping jacks.
And neither is usually our altar setup.
Oh, yeah. And it turns out actually I'm not either. So, all right. Frederick Darren Muskopf had few friends as a kid growing up in Grants Pass, Oregon. He was born in Ashland, Oregon, and was the youngest in his family. Perhaps that's why, at just 8 years old, he created an alter ego.
Ooh, I love me an alter ego.
Oh, well, that's interesting.
I do. Not for like criminal purposes, but I just really like being Incognito. Being incognito. Yeah.
I do the same thing. I'm like, in. Anyways, enough of that. Do you want to know what it was? His alter ego?
Literally, I'm dying to know what it is. Please tell me.
Rod Taylor.
Rod Taylor.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
Mm-hmm. Darren was an outgoing and obedient child, but he also aspired to greatness. He wanted to be more like his alter ego, Rod Taylor, at your service, which always reminds me of this scene in Scrubs where he says, Dr. Turk, at your cervix. Because Carla's in labor.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah. All right. Well,
I've never seen it.
All right. Podcast is over.
This is not a Scrubs rewatch podcast.
No, because the people that actually starred in the show are doing that.
Don't you love that, though? I fucking love those rewatch podcasts.
Yeah.
With the cast.
The podcast cast, rewatch podcasts.
Yeah. I just learned there was an OC one, and I'm about to get down on that.
Oh, boy. Yeah. I know. It's too rich for my blood. Rod was smart, but also invincible, unfailing in any pursuit, and was, of course, admired by all. Which is really easy to do when you don't exist.
I was going to say, I feel like if you're trying to be like someone who is invincible, it might not work out.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, yeah.
Not a human trait.
No, that's exactly right. Wow. Couldn't have said it better myself. Literally could not.
You're welcome.
It's not hard to see the appeal for someone like Darren, who always fell short, at least in his father's eyes, who frankly sounds like a bully.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Aw.
Pretty typical dynamic here, unfortunately. It's unclear whether he actually verbalized this thought or if Darren just sort of felt it, but he believed that his father considered him a sissy.
Oh, that's so sad.
Yeah, I don't love it.
Yeah.
And to be honest, I don't know if there were early signs of what would develop into, well, I shouldn't say develop into because it's not a progression per se, and it's not a choice. But I wonder if Darren's father could see early signs that he was gay.
Oh, okay.
I feel like that can make for some challenging relationship dynamics when you are an actual trash hamster.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So,
aww.
While we're on the topic of toxic masculinity and also Darren's dad, topics that may be somewhat intertwined in hindsight. So let's talk more about the family patriarch, shall we?
Okay.
Yeah. Well, you don't really get a choice. So Darren's father supported the family in a variety of roles. He worked as a butcher, a car salesman, and even a river guide.
Oh.
Which...
A what?
A river guide.
He was a car salesman, a butcher, and then a river guide?
Yes.
Okay.
I thought I said river guide weird.
No, I just, it didn't, in my brain, it didn't fit with the other things.
I mean, they are some very disparate job types, I would say.
Like, what's a river guide? Like is it fishing?
I don't know if there was fishing involved, but somebody who takes, tourists or people that want to go out into the great beyond, the wilderness.
Yeah, interesting.
And takes them out on tours and whatnot.
Because I don't know. I don't know this person, but to me, so far, he doesn't seem like the type to be like, look at this tree. It's a blah, blah, blah,
No, but I mean, he does strike me as the kind of guy who would be taking people out, for like whitewater rafting or something. Okay. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Because I'm a man.
That's why I was like, maybe it's fishing. I don't know. That's
Yeah.
like a manly thing to do. Kill little innocent fish with hooks.
Oh, yeah. The family was certainly living in the right area for the latter career path. So like Grants Pass, kind of Ashland, the Rogue River-ish area, I think.
I semi know where Ashland is.
Ashland is super cute.
We just talked about it recently.
Yeah, we did. But Darren's daddy was said to be a mean drunk. Though it seems that his older brothers took the brunt of their father's abuse, the pair were left with enough rage to enact similar abuse on their youngest brother on their father's behalf, or just on their own behalf because they were pissed that they were always getting beat up.
No.
So, super healthy. From an early age, it seems that Darren's emotional bonds were closest with his mother and sisters. Which, I think for maybe the youngest of three boys, that doesn't seem that surprising to me, at least. I don't know. I'm not a boy. I don't know things about boy stuff. By the time his parents split up in 1975, Darren was a teenager. Eventually, his mother remarried, which is actually where Darren takes on a different surname, Berg. Talk about daddy issues.
Ooh.
All joking aside, if you were given your father's last name at birth and you decide to change it of your own accord when you're still a kid, I'm going to assume that daddy done did you wrong.
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
Fair assessment? It's not totally clear to me that this was 100% Darren's choice or his doing, but I do think it says a lot. And let's face it, he didn't ever change his name back either.
Okay.
I just found that really interesting. In any case, Darren would eventually leave Grants Pass and enroll at the University of Oregon in Eugene.
Oh, okay. Ducks.
Yeah.
Quack, quack.
Quack, quack. This is where I have to say that while I really love how we have like a shop local mentality to our show, I also really hate that everything is ruined forever.
What's being ruined now?
Well, he's like a U of O alum, and I'm like, damn it. But, I don't know.
Is that ruining that?
I guess not.
Oh.
Let me be dramatic, okay? It is a full moon.
I was like, if I'm going to pick a duck or a beaver, it's going to be a beaver for sure. Like, and what are we ruining here? Come to me when you ruin beavers, okay?
Okay, so this is kind of off the rails a little bit. It's a little bit of a tangent, but
I
know,
but I digress.
I know, I was shocked. Anyway, I've actually been recently binging a true crime heavy on the comedy podcast called Let's Go to Court. And in terms of juvenile dick and or butt related jokes, they give us a decent run for our money. Like, I feel like we would be friends in real life.
Okay.
Do you remember I texted our chat the other night and was asking, what is that movie where the guy is talking about, I feel like he would want to be friends with me, and he was referring to Vince Vaughn.
Oh.
That is how I feel about them.
Man, like why do we keep bringing up Vince Vaughn on the show? Like,
come on.
Interesting.
Come on. But they actually covered this case as well, and it was pretty fucking hilarious. And I'm not going to steal their jokes about how Darren is a weird bus fucker.
What?
Uh-huh.
A bus fucker?
Uh-huh. As in so obsessed with buses that he wants to fuck one American Pie style.
Oh, is he going to be on My Strange Addiction? Do you remember the guy who like fucked his car?
It's not like that, allegedly.
We talked about tree fucking last time too. What is it with you?
It
lately?
Is all over the place. But anyways, I would never do that to the self-proclaimed Grace Kelly of podcasting, would never steal her hilarious dick and or butt jokes. So,
Okay.
However, I did want to take this opportunity to humbly issue a call to action for our listeners. Please make Kristen and Brandy aware of our existence. Make our dreams come true. Bus fucking accusations aside, there is absolutely zero concrete evidence that Darren ever engaged in sexual intercourse with a bus or any other type of motor vehicle. I'm saying that for legal reasons because I feel he could prove to be a litigious man.
You know, I think I'm just going to go with the fact that he didn't. I'm more comfortable with that.
Yeah. There's something that is comforting about that.
Yeah.
However, at 20 years old, he did, in fact, own a charter bus company, the Darren Berg Tour Corporation.
Oh, he didn't name it after his alter ego?
No.
Darn.
I know. It feels like could be a missed opportunity.
Right? Yeah.
But maybe it was like the ultimate fuck you to his dad.
Yeah, maybe.
I'm just saying.
That's true, because he had a new last name and yeah.
Yep. His grandfather was reportedly a Greyhound bus driver. So maybe it was just a genetic compulsion.
Oh, it's a bus family.
Uh-huh. It's a bus fucking family.
No.
Also, I'd like to point out that I say reportedly, like Darren telling that story over and over about his grandpa being a bus driver is actual reporting.
Oh, so we don't know if that's true.
I mean, I have no reason to believe it's not true. I'm assuming it's true, but I wasn't looking to fact check that particular aspect of the story.
It's kind of a weird lie.
It would be a weird lie, but it wouldn't be his only weird lie.
Unless you're going like, I know what I'm doing because my grandpa did this, so it runs in my blood.
He didn't drive the buses.
What did he just
he just
delegate
owned the company? Yeah. Oh, he's a world-class delegator.
Oh, okay.
Anyways,
a Manson?
A what?
A Manson.
Oh,
he's a world-class delegator if I've ever seen one.
That's true. Anyways, aside from running a company completely removed from any type of vehicular sex work, I don't know if motor vehicles can be involved in sex work.
If you can't consent,
that's what I'm saying.
Unless you're one of those talking cars from those shows.
Oh, yeah.
Or whatever.
Like Christine.
Yeah. I bet Christine would have consented. She was kind of obsessed with it.
She was a naughty girl.
Yeah.
From what I recall.
Mm-hmm.
Darren was a good-looking white man of mediocre talent and possibly slightly above average intelligence. So, other than fucking buses, that was kind of his thing. I just feel like it's giving Bundy vibes.
Yeah.
Thankfully, minus the murder.
Oh, good. Thank gosh.
That we know of. I'm always leaving that door open.
I don't want to leave murder doors open.
I know. Well, we did. Literally left the murder door open.
Maybe that's why you left it open, because it related to your story.
No, I could not have operated with that level of forethought. That's ridiculous. Ma'am.
You think I remember what I wrote?
Yeah. You sound ridiculous.
The person who sat down and said, all right, what are we talking about today?
I did say that. Anyway, for a young man of college age, there was only one thing to do. Cassie. One thing? One thing?
Fuck a bus? I don't know. What?
That's right. Join a frat.
Oh, good old Greek societies or whatever.
That's right. She's like, I could not care less.
Alpha, beta, pi.
Hey, listen, I will let you know what house. But just joining would be such a sheeple move. Not Darren. he had big dreams for his time as a Pi Kappa Alpha. And because he was an attractive yet altogether mediocre white man at this stage of his life, he was handed an opportunity to really make an impression as a #Greek life student when he was elected both president and treasurer for the fraternity.
That seems like a conflict of interest.
Well, it seems like probably kind of a time suck also.
Yeah.
Does he not take any classes?
I don't know.
Yeah. I'm just saying, seems like poor planning.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm. Because I guess we just hand over that kind of responsibility to whoever has their hands free while everyone else is butt chugging or something.
Good old butt chugging.
Butt chugging. Hey, I said I wouldn't steal her jokes. I didn't say I wouldn't make my own about butts. Mike Stone was the frat's alumni advisor, and he would be the one to stumble upon the fraud initiated by Darren. You see, Darren was responsible for collecting the household rent from its members and making the payment to their landlord. Mm-hmm. Weirdly, after being elected by his brothers, the fraternity would encounter some financial issues.
Weird. When you make the president also the treasurer.
I know. Weird. In September, the frat's bank statement did not show a deposit. So it's really hard to make the payment for your rent when you don't deposit the funds that you collected to
a little bit.
Pay the...
Yeah.
You get it.
I don't know where it went. What am I, the treasurer?
Yeah. Yes, Darren. Yes. Yes, you are. Fuck. It turns out he was really good at the collecting part. And then not so great when it came to releasing the funds to the appropriate party. Which is just wild to me. I mean, what could possibly go wrong when you put perpetually drunk assholes in charge of tens of thousands of dollars?
Yeah, what could go wrong?
I'm just not sure where things went wrong.
Yeah.
Well, it would come to light later that Darren had taken all the money from the frat that should have been going towards their rent. The question is, what would an entrepreneur that young, dumb, and presumably full of cum do with all that money?
I was not expecting you to say that.
I know, because I was like, I see it, and I was like, don't even look at it. You know the word, just say it. Don't give it away.
You wouldn't even say that for my episode when I made you read the Urban Dictionary definition.
What?
Of, I can't remember, like the scuba diver. I don't know. I can't remember what it was. It wasn't that. But you were like, come to completion. You wouldn't even say come. Now you're just pulling cum out of your butt.
Obviously, I said come to completion. Come on.
You should have said full of completion.
Full of completion. Oh boy. Oh boy.
That's a new one.
Listen, he poured it into his bus company. The money, not the cum. Allegedly.
Oh. Wow. Just coming full circle.
You see what I did there?
I do see what you did there. Unfortunately, I'm getting a very vivid mental image right now.
So now he's got money to burn and potentially buses to fuck. Again, allegedly.
Jesus. How many more times?
Couldn't tell you. Probably a few. You guys, he's really obsessed with the buses, okay? And it's such a weird and specific part of this case that like 100 different like TV shows, news programs, podcasts could cover it, and they would all be thinking to themselves, when does he start fucking the buses?
Oh, God. I don't want to know.
Honestly, I'm just so glad I'm not a newscaster. Because it would really suck to have to talk about this case. And
like straight-faced and no jokes.
No jokes. No jokes about his bus fucking.
Ugh. You would just have to, and then you'd get fired and you'd end up on YouTube as a blooper.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyhoozle. Following this kerfuffle with the fraught finances, Darren moved to Portland and started an ad agency with a former frat brother. They called it Berg, Chavre, and Associates.
Did they know it was him that stole the money?
Oh, yeah.
It's kind of obvious. So, who is this other frat brother that's going with him?
I don't know. Maybe that guy graduated the year before and had no idea.
Interesting.
That was my question as well.
What are you doing, bro? You just saw he was really good at money.
Yeah, you're like, he's really good at money. People elected him for money stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's be his partner.
Yeah. Chad. Oh, God. Chad Chavre. Oh, that's so douchey. I have no idea what his name was.
But. Oh, I was like, is that his name?
Yeah, that would be hilarious though, right? Which, in another context, almost conjures up images of an up-and-coming law firm. Doesn't Berg, Chavre, and Associates, it sounds like a law firm.
It kind of does, yeah.
It wasn't.
Clearly. I'd be a little worried if it was.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing is he did tell people that he went to law school. So it's not even that far-fetched.
It wasn't him. It was Rod who went to law school.
Listen, Rod doesn't like to waste his time with books and classrooms, lectures. No, he's out there doing. I assume.
The big do. He's doing the big do. I don't know what that means.
Doing the big do. Oh,
do the do. I don't know.
Do the do. Yeah. No, I remember those ads. God damn. Well, things seem to be on the up and up for a minute anyway. Then in 1987, Darren is indicted on bank fraud charges for check kiting.
Check kiting?
Yeah.
What is that?
Oh, don't you worry.
Okay.
Basically, he wrote a check from one account, deposited to another, and withdrew the funds before anyone realized that the first account had insufficient funds. And just in case you were wondering, because you thought it sounded like such a good idea, this is illegal.
This is why checks suck.
Yeah, this is why nobody takes a goddamn check anymore. Yeah. Which is why I will never understand how they went and gave it such a fun, whimsical sounding name.
Yeah, kiting.
Check kiting.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm about to have a day at the beach.
Just kiting your checks around.
Yeah.
Oh, look, my $10,000.
You miming an interpretation of check kiting.
Was it everything you ever wanted?
It really was.
You're welcome.
I mean, except the $10,000, but.
I know.
Oh boy. Okay. He did this in a series of transactions between the business ventures in which he had a stake to the tune of roughly $19,000.
Ooh.
In 1987.
Kind of a lot.
That's a lot of money now, but that was
decent amount.
Chad had never seen that much money. Though 8 charges had been filed against him, he pled guilty to just a singular charge. The judge sentenced him to a suspended sentence, which is just the most dickish thing. As part of the agreement for his sentencing, he had to repay the money he'd kited and attend counseling.
Oh, okay.
So basically, hey, you stole that money. You have to give it back. And then we want to send you to this guy, and he's going to tell you about how you can be better at not doing that.
I mean, I guess it's was the crime that? I mean, was it that bad?
I mean, I don't know. You got an extra 19 grand later on.
I mean, if you can't pay it back, I assume there are
repercussions.
Repercussions or repercussions?
I mean, dealer's choice.
I'll say it with a country accent. Southern accent. Repercussions.
What in tarnation? Oh, boy. Following this latest brush with the legal system, he moved to Seattle and he started a new company.
I wonder if this one just did everything legally, nothing went wrong.
Listen, Darren has proven himself to be nothing if not honest.
New state, new Darren. You
Yeah.
know?
Yeah, that's right. That's right. You know, some people wait for a new year. He just waited for a new address.
Waited till he got caught and then moved.
Yeah. And then moved. Yeah. Meridian Mortgage Funds. This company honed in on the private mortgage market. Remember, it's the 80s.
Oh,
the late 80s. Arguably the best part of the 80s. It was right about now.
We can get away with crime. Well, not really.
Also, when I was born.
Oh,
but,
I see.
Yeah.
What
Wow.
I said didn't make any sense because he didn't even get away with it. So.
No.
Was this on American Greed?
It was. Yeah.
I wonder if I've heard it before. I wouldn't know.
Maybe. Yeah. Well, because you're like sleep watching.
Yeah.
Yeah. You're like sleep listening.
So many of them that.
Yeah. What he started out doing was totally legal. Essentially selling real estate without the involvement of a bank, which sounds far less insidious on the surface than how, by the end of it, how all this shook out.
Is that like those signs I see on the road that said "We buy houses cash"?
I don't think this really exists anymore.
Oh,
yeah.
What are those signs about though? Does anybody know?
It's a scam. I can tell you that
like
much.
A handwritten sign on the side of the road in cardboard.
You know what? Listen, that guy could afford both the Sharpie and the cardstock.
Yeah.
So, I mean, he probably knows what he's doing.
Yeah. Well, I assume like if you're wanting to buy houses with cash, you might have the cash to purchase a nicer sign.
Well, but you know what? They always say rich people don't waste their money. So.
On signage. That's a quote.
Yeah. Typically, this type of transaction would occur if the buyer didn't have the credit worthiness to qualify for a more traditional bank loan. So, nothing to see here. Just surface level. Everything's fine. Everything's fine. My next line, which seemed fine. Skirt protocol and safety nets, baby. This is all prior to the collapse of the housing and mortgage markets, still playing a prominent role in the collective trauma of, I wrote nation, but I'm going to say generation when it comes to housing. So,
yeah.
Because let's face it, there's some people that are maybe slightly more significantly impacted. In 2003, Darren invested in his bus company to the tune of about $4 million of Meridian's roughly $13 million in capital.
Damn. Mm-hmm. He's still at the bus company?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And I gotta say, I was like, I'm sorry, how many millions? What?
A couple few.
He's real good at collecting.
Yeah.
So while we're talking about money that Darren at one point or another outright stole from people or, just casually embezzled those types of funds, that $4 million would eventually grow to 40, not $40, because that wouldn't be growth. I don't think you people understand growth. $40 million.
Wow.
And not because he invested it in something like real foolproof. He just kept stealing more.
Oh, okay.
So just to be clear, he's not like so good with the money that, he's just like making more of it. He's just stealing more of it.
So it's not return on investment.
No, it's not.
Just
see, I knew I would find a way to work it in. God damn. Oh, this is where I go hard on trying to convince you that he has a very unhealthy attachment or parasocial relationship with the buses.
Back to the buses.
Back to the buses. You know what I'm saying? Like backing it up against that bus.
Back it up.
He interviewed each bus driver that his company hired. And of course, he purchased their uniforms from Nordstrom.
Okay.
Pretty schwanky.
Fancy for a bus driver.
I think so. A little bit. Because obviously, I can't think of anything more necessary. I mean, you're going to get all those Nordies points, you know?
Do they have points?
Oh, well, they call them notes. You want to get those Nordies notes.
Oh, okay.
Oh. I mean, I bought my wedding dress secondhand, but the thing is, I don't even plan to drive a bus a single time while I'm wearing it. So who even cares? You know? Like, I'm not going to be operating any sort of heavy equipment. So what does it matter?
I sure as fuck hope not.
She's like, I actually have follow-up questions now.
Especially on your wedding, because you're not going to be sober.
No, not for a single minute of it.
Are you going to talk about what he interviewed the bus drivers about?
Oh, he just interviewed everyone that they hired.
Like okay.
Yeah.
Just to like hire them.
Yeah.
Do you think he tried to like slip in like, hey, how much do you like buses?
Like, are you really into buses?
Yeah.
Or just like, yeah, I'm a bus driver.
Try to like feel him out and see. Maybe he wouldn't hire them because it would be like competition.
Oh, yeah. No, you don't want some other guy fucking your bus. The Seahawks, back to sportsing.
Football.
Were among his elite client list.
Oh.
That's right. But it wasn't all about whining and dining the buses that Darren undoubtedly wanted to fuck. He also bought himself 2 private jets and 2 yachts. Because who wants to be one of those poors that doesn't have a jet or a yacht to lend to a friend, you know?
2?
Uh-huh. Jeez. I mean, really, if you think about it, it's the only way to do it.
I mean, I wouldn't be mad about it if I were his friend.
Exactly. He also paid John Mayer and Ben Folds to perform at a company party.
John Mayer?
Yeah.
Ugh. Like, why?
I mean, he was arguably he's still, listen, people like him.
I know.
You know?
I don't get it.
I mean, I get it to a point, but I don't know.
Yeah.
Just, whatever.
Don't fuck over Taylor. You know what I mean? Mm-mm.
Yeah, just fuck a bus.
Allegedly for all of the other things she said before, because you forgot to say it a couple of times.
Yeah. Listen, Darren, come out of your hidey hole. File that lawsuit. Bye-bye. He paid John Mayer $465,000 for that show.
That's all it takes to buy John Mayer?
I mean, this was a while ago, but yeah, pretty much. It's unclear how much Ben Folds was compensated, but hopefully it was enough to cover his, I assume, massive alimony payments, because that dude's been married quite a few times.
I don't know who that is. That's why I didn't really acknowledge that one.
I feel like that's about right.
Okay.
My next line, though, it probably won't explain it for you, but it might for some people. I don't know. He's the guy who penned the massively popular song about how the bitch went nuts.
The bitch went nuts?
Yeah.
Why?
She stabbed my basketball.
Good.
I know, right?
Deserved it.
What is it with all of the fucking sports? Anyway, unlike the nearly innumerable ex-wives of Ben Folds, lovely gentleman that he is, Darren's employees loved him particularly once they learned about how his grandpa had worked for Greyhound, inspiring Darren to do the same while he put himself through imaginary law school.
Aw, so sweet.
Yeah.
So wholesome. Why would you go to law school and then be a bus owner?
He didn't go to
I know,
law
but like, that's what's weird about it. Like, it's such a weird lie and people are like believing it.
But
like,
they're like, that totally tracks. Yeah, that makes complete sense, Darren.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, I guess Nick
don't
Miller
know.
went to law school and he was just a bartender and then a writer. So
That is-
anything is possible.
That's correct.
That's a not fictional character at all.
Right. And that's a quote. I cut myself off before I said a story that was roughly half true at best. Because, you know, the whole law school part of it was fake. So
Yeah.
what? Like, it's hard? During this same period, he also had multiple residential properties. And here's the thing. It opens up a conversation about capitalism that I'm not prepared to have today. But what I will do is tell you about some other things that this absolute douche canoe did. Because, you know, eat the rich and suffering of the poor, thatched with lies. And he posted a picture of himself to social media.
Oh, wow. Do you want me to read what it says?
Would you be a deer?
It says, I'm hot and rich.
What's he standing in front of, Cassie?
Seattle's best coffee.
That one's for sure going into our into our
man,
post.
I'm hot and rich. Wait. But behind him it also says premium chicken. So
by March of 2007, he bought his mansion on Mercer Island. The lakefront property cost him roughly $5.5 million, boasting a beautiful view of the Bellevue skyline.
Oh, lovely.
I think he would have had to pay me $5.5 million to live there with him, though. He sounds really awful. People are like, oh, okay, sure. We believe you.
Is this the house?
Yeah.
Whoa, damn.
I mean, the price has gone up considerably.
Ooh, 11 million. Wow.
I know.
Is that a hot tub pool combo, like an
I'm
infinity?
not really sure. Probably.
Oh,
Yeah.
jet skis?
Yep. So other than just our own amusement, there was a reason that I showed you that. To look at that property, I can easily believe that he just sunk a ton of money into it. And those that talked to some of the contractors that worked on the property for him said that sometimes they would redo projects or entire rooms multiple times. Honestly, you can barely buy a postage stamp within a 100-mile radius of Portland for less than $11 million. So
It's true.
you know, dreams. But
Join our Patreon.
yeah, fund our ridiculous dreams. Listen, I'm not looking to buy a mansion, but if I could move into a 2-bedroom, that would be sick.
Yeah, right.
But I won't ever leave Portland in all likelihood because I do tend to prefer to live in a place where I'm viewed as a person. Yes, I am still mad about Roe v. Wade for those of you that are keeping track. And hypocritical right-wing conservative nut jobs inserting their insidious tentacles into our government, healthcare, and daily lives. But I digress. Caitlin's fine, you guys. It's totally fine. Everything that's happening in Alabama is happening there. So,
Bammer.
bammer. At any rate, Darren's swanky new place was located at, and you've already seen it, so you know she's swanky, But for those of you that maybe want to give her a gander,
Zillow that shit.
Zillow. 1640 72nd Avenue Southeast, Mercer Island, Washington. Hallelujah. I mean, it's not an actual island because that would have been like...
Oh, that's annoying.
Yeah.
But it did have water source.
I know, but I feel like you have to have like probably hundreds of millions to be able to have your own island.
Yeah.
In all likelihood. Berg's Ponzi schemes involved misrepresenting investments in real estate and related contracts totaling $245 million, while actually using investor funds for personal expenses, as well as to aid in the continuation of his fraud, because that's literally how every Ponzi scheme works.
Got to spend money to make money, am I right?
No.
Wait, let me rephrase that. You got to spend someone else's money to make money, right?
That is correct. That
there you go.
Is unfortunately factually more accurate. One of his largest investors happens to also have been an investor with Bernie Madoff. Ever heard of him?
It sounds familiar. Not Bernie Sanders. Different guy?
Yeah, very, very different guy. Pretty much diametrically opposed Bernie's, actually.
Just Bernie's not that common of a name. Okay, who is Bernie?
Bernie Madoff, listen, we're going to have to unpack that on our own time. I think our listeners probably know who he is. He perpetrated one of the largest Ponzi scams, I think, in probably the largest. I don't know. I'm not keeping tabs on Bernie.
Was he on American Greed?
I don't know. Maybe. He was on the news a lot in recent years.
67 seasons, so it's possible.
Yeah. So he might have actually been a whole last season.
Wow.
It was once the much larger Ponzi scheme was revealed at the height of the housing crisis that this individual attempted to withdraw his investment, which, of course, Darren couldn't repay. That's how Ponzi schemes work.
Where you get caught when they try to take their money back.
Yeah. Other investors began to follow suit, which, of course, resulted in a different type of suit, as in multiple lawsuits. Well, I guess he saw the writing on the wall. Must have read the Wall Street Journal and realized that Ponzi schemes are really hard to carry off. Like, certainly for as long as he'd been doing it, he was coming definitely to the end of his rope. He reached out to the feds to confess his crimes. And in July of 2010, he met and struck a deal with them.
Good old deal.
Mm-hmm. Mark Calvert was assigned as his bankruptcy trustee, and he was not only unimpressed with Darren's scheme, but he did not come up for any of his bullshit.
Good.
Federal investigators learned that, actually, though, Darren had concealed approximately $400,000 from the trustees and later lied about the source of these funds when confronted by the trustee in his personal bankruptcy, which is not a good idea. Despite claiming cooperation with bankruptcy trustees in his personal and corporate bankruptcies, Berg was shown to be concealing the source of the funds and using the money for personal expenses, including luxury vehicles, apartment rent, and legal fees. And they were like, that is not cool, dude.
I want to, be in bankruptcy. It sounds great.
Doesn't it sound awesome? I mean, the dude's got 2 jets, 2 yachts. He makes bankruptcy look pretty good.
A row of jet skis.
Yeah.
I don't know if those are...
Yeah, no. I
rented for the photo.
Ew, rentals. Gross. When the feds discovered that Darren was concealing said assets and an offshore account in Belize.
Oh.
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah. Got to get you one of those offshore accounts.
It's my fucking dream to have one. For nothing but legal reasons.
Yeah. You're like, I just want one.
It sounds cool to say, like, I have an offshore account.
Yeah.
What am I up to? Nobody knows.
When the feds discovered that Darren was concealing assets and an offshore account in Belize, despite his purported cooperation, authorities, they were like, we're not mad, just disappointed. But I think this next part may have pushed them over the edge. The funds that were continuing to come in were allegedly for consulting work.
Oh.
Not exactly clear on what kind of consulting work Darren would have been doing at this point, but when the authorities investigated Darren's new client, he not only contradicted Darren's claims, but pointed to inconsistencies within the supposed contract. Like, Darren may have spelled the name of his client incorrectly.
Oh, boy.
That's what I heard. Anywho, Darren was arrested in Los Angeles in October 2010, indicted in November 2010, and then he pled guilty in August of 2011.
Dang, when did he go to LA?
Really good question. Yeah, it seems like they weren't super concerned about like really ironing out all the details with Darren. Prosecutors lobbied for Darren to be remanded into custody, and the judge agreed to the request. And on October 21st, 2010, that's when he was charged with concealing funds. This is concealing funds from a bankruptcy trustee, which simultaneously the lamest sounding charge, but also kind of the wildest at the same time, you know?
Yeah.
Like, you're just like a wild, silly little nerd, aren't you? You know? August 2011, he pleads guilty to wire fraud, money laundering, and bankruptcy fraud. Apparently they take that shit real seriously. His sentencing hearing was held in February 2012. His sister spoke in his defense about childhood abuse during their formative years. She even claimed that he had developed an alter ego that she stated he'd never truly abandoned.
Oh.
Rod Taylor? At your cervix. Cervix.
Is this a Fight Club situation?
Doesn't it kind of feel like it?
Spoiler alert.
A little bit. A little bit.
What's his name?
Spoiler
Tyler
alert.
Durden.
Tyler.
This is Rod Stewart. Wait, what's his name? Rod
Taylor.
Rod Taylor.
Stewart is a different guy. And he is real.
Rod Taylor is this guy's Tyler Durden.
Yeah, you know what? I kind of get that.
Case closed.
Yeah.
It's not helpful, but we figured it out.
The prosecution rests. Darren's mother said some pretty damning things about the victims in a letter to the judge.
That's not nice.
No, it's not great. It's got a real garbagey vibe, if I'm being honest. They, too, must be culpable for a small percentage of the guilt, as savvy investors for letting their greed overtake their reason.
Investing is greedy now?
Well, so here's the thing. At the back half here, he was specifically targeting investors that have to be like accredited, and they have to have a certain amount of holdings to be able to qualify.
Jeez.
Yeah. So you have to have like over $1 million in specifically like these types of investment instruments or vehicles to be able to do what they were doing. So, I mean, most of these people probably weren't about to end up homeless, although was at the height of the housing crisis. So pretty much everybody was seconds away from being homeless, not unlike right now.
Yeah.
Arguably for so many people. I just think probably don't victim blame, because I think that's pretty obvious that that's what she's doing.
Yeah. I guess I
It's
could
not
see
great.
how if they're already like super rich people, maybe we don't feel that bad for them, but
Yeah. But we're not talking about mega rich people. We're not talking about billionaires. You know, we're talking about people that, yeah, I mean, but if they have over $1 million in investments, that might be literally everything that they've worked for in their entire lives.
Like their retirement plans.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. I'm not saying I don't feel bad for them.
Oh, no, for sure.
I can see like maybe where someone a
Exactly.
little bitter could have that logic.
Oh, for sure. And I think in a situation like this, there's so much nuance, right? You know, if they were billionaires, it would still be wrong what he did. I'd probably care like a lot less.
He'd be like, I'm Robin Hood.
Yeah, exactly. Robin Hood.
Why didn't he just do that?
I know. Well, because Cassie, having 2 jets and 2 yachts and an $11 million home turns out it's real expensive.
Oh, yeah, I guess.
You know? At age 49, Frederick Darren Berg of Washington was sentenced to 18 years in prison for wire fraud, money laundering, and bankruptcy fraud. The amount of restitution, which was set to exceed over $100 million, was supposed to be determined at an April 2012 court hearing. I also didn't tug at that thread because, listen, it's about to go off the rails again.
Oh, I was
Just
like, supposed to be?
Yeah. I don't know if he actually made it to that hearing or not. The funds represented that $245 million in investor money was invested in real estate contracts and real estate. However, the funds were actually elaborate Ponzi schemes, which we know at this point. Apparently, he did not get the memo that using investor money for a luxurious lifestyle was super uncool. At sentencing, U.S. District Judge Richard A. Jones told Berg he had reckless disregard for his victims and had no moral compass.
Sounds about right.
Darren got a good old spanking, and he was sent off to his room without supper.
Oh, I bet he was like, man, can they get a bus to spank me?
I know. Just to feed your rage, I've also got another special quote from the assistant special agent in charge of the FBI Seattle office. To feed his unadulterated greed, Mr. Berg took advantage of hopeful investors, many of them senior citizens who depended on their carefully built savings to afford assisted living, medical care, and higher educational opportunities for future generations.
There it is.
Mm-hmm.
That sucks.
Although this sentencing doesn't change the fact that many lives are brutally impacted by Mr. Berg's actions, the FBI is pleased that at least Mr. Berg will serve significant time for his crimes.
18 years, you said?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
The FBI thanks all our state and federal agency partners for their contribution to a case that has significance for so many victims. Berg's actions impacted literally an unthinkably large victim pool. I mean, we're talking about hundreds of people.
Damn.
Many of whom were senior citizens, as the FBI guy said.
I hate that. Oh, it reminds me of what's his name? Oh.
Ralph?
It reminds me of Ralph.
Targeting his victims from this vulnerable segment of society seems particularly cruel, knowing that many would be dependent on the savings that he had essentially squandered for assisted living as they continue to age, as well as other medical expenses. The case was investigated through combined efforts of the FBI, the Washington State Department of Financial Institutions, and the IRS criminal investigation, then in turn was prosecuted by Assistant United States Attorney Norman Barbosa. Barbosa. He done pissed off everybody. All of the alphabet within our government. In light of all this, you'd think that once Darren was convicted, sentenced, and behind bars, that would be the end of the story. But it's not. Because the 55-year-old inmate who was responsible for one of the largest Ponzi schemes in Washington state history and arguably the nation escaped from the U.S. penitentiary Atwater Satellite Prison Camp.
What? He escaped?
He escaped. He escaped big time.
So you weren't lying about the Bundy vibes earlier.
Mm-mm. For context, the workday for a typical prisoner at the satellite camp begins bright and early at 7:30 a.m. with a 30-minute break for lunch, offering more respite than many unincarcerated Americans receive on the regs.
Ain't that the truth?
It really is. I'm one of them today.
What's a 30-minute lunch like?
Yeah, I don't know. And then their workday, as it were, ends at roughly 3 p.m. A half hour later, corrections officers conduct what's called a stand-up count, and the men must wait in their cubicles as guards stride by and add them to their tally. So I'm sure it will come as a little surprise that at about 3:30 p.m. on December 6th of 2017, prison officials realized that one of their inmates was missing. None other than Darren Berg. Though he wasn't considered a particularly dangerous prisoner, it's pretty infuriating.
Yeah.
Especially considering the fact that Darren was the third inmate to escape in 2017.
Dang, you got some holes in the perimeter here.
I mean, there really is no perimeter. It's a satellite camp.
So it's not like a real jail where they're enclosed?
It's near a real jail. It's just so loose. Everything is just very loosey-goosey compared to, like, I don't know. The guy owns 2 fucking jets and 2 yachts. And you don't think he's a flight risk?
That's interesting.
I know. Isn't it?
Did they not confiscate his jets?
I believe that by the time he was carted off to prison, they were probably already in the process of being sold to compensate his victims. Yeah. But I don't know that for a fact. But I do have some information about the other prisoners who escaped. Eric Pree, who was sentenced to 8 years and 5 months for conspiracy to commit mail fraud, walked away from a minimum security camp at the prison on January 29th. He has never been found that I could find. Another inmate, 26-year-old, I'm thinking Guymar Cabrera Hernandez. I'm going to go with that.
Okay.
Escaped on May 12th, but was apprehended the next day. So
he was caught. Okay.
Yeah. Berg was described by prison officials as a 6-foot-tall white male with brown hair and green eyes weighing about 170 pounds. Based on my research, all 72 inches of him remains at large to this day.
Where did he go?
It's funny you say that. There's been a lot of speculation. There have been some social media posts that his boyfriend has been questioned about. Emails, little sus.
Interesting.
I won't be surprised in the slightest if he pops back up on our radar one of these days after years of successfully evading authorities by living a quiet life as an expat of sorts in South America.
Oh.
I hear Belize is lovely.
So they do semi-know where he's at.
They don't know, but
they have suspicions.
Suspicions. As indie podcasters, we love to show our support of other awesome shows. So stay tuned for the promo we've got to share with you this week.
Let's show them some love. You can find their info in our show notes.
Magic mirror on the wall, who are the most rotten ones of all? Hello, my darlings, and welcome to Rotten to the Core. Here, we will scry into the past and discover some rotten apples throughout our history. Have no fear, my pretties, for we shall learn a lesson, not only about their horrendous deeds, but also about our own power. Let's step out of the shadow of the past and help pull it towards the light. I am your host, Josh Waters, and I'll be the queen guiding you on our journey. Now, come along, dears. We have lessons to learn. History is waiting.
If you want nightmares, you are in the right place.
I couldn't sleep last night after listening.
This podcast is genuinely scary.
That's what people are saying about Frightful. And if you'd like a few nightmares of your own, then how about you step this way? Hi, I'm Peter Laws, and I'm an author, journalist, and the host of Frightful, the podcast that is giving folks the serious creeps. From spine-tingling tales of the paranormal and shocking true crime to disturbing cults, possessions, and the forgotten horrors of history, Frightful is the podcast that pulls you into the darkness with immersive music, sound effects, and storytelling that is designed with one thing in mind: to get under your skin. With new episodes every other Sunday, you'll have plenty to keep that heart rate high. The good news is it's available free wherever you get your podcasts. The bad news is that after listening to this show, you might just have to spend a few more cents on electricity. After all, you're going to be sleeping with the lights on. So search Frightful in your podcast apps, and I will see you there in the dark.
You guys, we're back! And don't worry, we did get more wine.
Well, of course. Do you like my money tray? It felt like probably the right vibe for Darren.
What did that quote say on his photo? Something about...
I'm hot and I'm rich.
I'm hot and I'm rich.
Okay, well, now she's just manifesting. Oh, boy.
Did we get a goodie?
I don't know. In this context, I don't know. King of Cups.
Okay.
It's a toidle.
It's a toidle. He did live on the water.
Excellent point. Okay. Keywords are benevolence, culture, creativity, emotional warmth, and protection. In many decks, this king sits on a throne of lies and wears rich garments and a crown. He usually appears as a benevolent authority, a father figure who rules kindly and fairly.
I feel like that's not right.
It's certainly not accurate if we're talking about Darren.
Weird. Okay.
Yeah.
Huh.
In a reading, the King of Cups may signify an actual person, When he does, it's generally a mature man who's cultured and knowledgeable in the arts.
Is this Rod?
You know who I think, if we had to pick a person, I think this is his bankruptcy trustee. But I'm just saying. When the King of Cups appears upright, he represents strong emotions and creative talent. Oh, here we go. If he represents a real person, it's someone who wants to be loved and admired.
Okay. Yeah.
Holy shit. He may go to great lengths to gain your attention and affection. Ding, ding, ding.
We
ding.
still got it.
Although he's easily hurt, he may not show it and can hold a grudge.
Okay. Yeah, I could see that.
All right.
With his dad changing the name and the things. And yeah.
Oh, damn. I didn't even think about that.
I did.
Oh, oh boy. He can be rather indulgent and controlling, but his friends can count on his support and protection.
Because he steals money to lend them yachts.
Yeah. And fly his boyfriend to Belize, allegedly. In a reading about money, the king can mean receiving money through a creative venture. It may suggest your emotions are influencing a financial matter. Sometimes it represents a financial backer.
Oh, maybe hundreds of them.
Yeah. My thoughts exactly. If the reading is about your job, the king can describe a creative occupation. Well, however, he may indicate you're longing for something better.
Yeah.
Perhaps you've grown complacent. Well, I wouldn't say that last bit. In a question about love, this card represents a deeply emotional, committed, and romantic relationship. It can suggest jealousy and possessiveness, however, or a need for more trust and openness. Oh boy. Okay, so in the reverse, I'm just going to read this first part because yikes. The reversed king shows emotional turmoil, insecurity, and defensiveness. If he represents a real person, he can be manipulative, emotionally controlling, and vindictive. This card suggests dissatisfaction and frustration.
I could see all of that.
Did you spot anything good in our...
I can read this thing just for shits and giggles.
Just for shits and gigs?
He swam steadily, progressing through the water at a pace that felt both painstaking and inevitable. He found that if he dove deep enough and stayed down long enough, that he could forget the lapping waves and glaring sunlight on the surface.
Oh, boy.
Interesting. He was centered and his perspective shifted. He did not move through the water. The water passed around him. He was not diving deeper. The surface was simply receding above him. He was not moving down into a level of higher pressure. The water was collecting above him with its reassuring weight. With his metabolism slowed, he spent what felt like a lifetime down there. It kind of seems like someone like hiding out.
Yeah.
And just like getting buried under time.
Yikes.
And yeah. Interesting.
Yeah.
Well, should we go ahead and light this honey on fire like we planned?
Bitch, get out my house.
Pour one out for the homies, am I right?
Listen, that ain't my homie.
Does Belize have sea turtles?
Okay. You know they've got to, right?
It just seems like
tropical turtles.
Yeah. I'm like, is that even on the water, Belize? I don't know. I love when we look stuff up because sometimes we don't. And then after I'm like, ah.
Okay, I'm going to look deeper into this just for my own amusement. But this website, the headline is Swimming with Wonder, the Enchanting Sea Turtles of Belize.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that's totally fitting.
Listen, the Fantastic Four. Belize is a paradise for not one, not two, but 4 species of sea turtles. From the majestic loggerhead to the elegant green sea turtle, the charming hawksbill, and the charismatic leatherback.
That's what this is.
What?
A leatherback sea turtle.
Stop it.
It's P&W?
Well, I mean, I think there are like a lot of other marine animals that like they probably migrate.
Yeah.
Or, you know, are native to multiple different areas.
Interesting. Yep, that's what that is.
Belize's warm waters offer a haven for these incredible beings. And also that shit sack, Darren, potentially.
Okay. Should we do our thing?
We really went somewhere. A lot of places. Not Belize.
P&W humps and homicides after dark. But we're not humping buses.
Girl.
At least there's that.
Oh my God.
Have a creepy ass day. See you next Tuesday.
Unless you're a bus fucker.
Unless you're busy with the tailpipe. We don't want to see any of you creepy people on My Strange Addiction. Please.
Unless it's because you're obsessed with our show.
Maybe don't put that on us.
Actually, I don't know that I
don't do that either.
No, never mind. JK.
Stop that. Shut it down.
We just want you all to be healthy. Okay.
Be healthy like us.
Yeah, that's weird. You're weird. Anybody ever tell you that?
Every day of my damn life, I look in the mirror and I say, you're weird.